Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Impromptu Q&A. We just finished up my second and final run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This run was on the hardest difficulty along with an unlockable character and online co-op. Check that out here on the channel if you'd like, but we finished early. Being that I finished early, we have some extra time to do whatever. So we're going to do some Q&A right now on the chat and see what people have to talk about for about 30 minutes or so. By the way, Jasper Kitty is in the office today going nuts. So he's already been on the chair. He's already been attacking me. Right now he's playing with a toy on the floor. So he'll probably be a part of this, I'm sure. Let's see what people want to talk about. Carlos says, when was the last time I played Castlevania? You mean 2D side-scrolling Castlevania? Castlevania Bloodlines, which I played on the Genesis Mini about 2 years ago. A little longer than 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Outside of that, classic Castlevania I haven't played in many, many years. Like the originals, I haven't played since the 90s. So this will be interesting because I'm actually playing them starting tomorrow on the main stream. It'll be interesting to see how it goes and how entertaining it will be. Mr. Jizzle says, yes, I do believe we are going to see some really fun stuff come from subscription services, whether it's Game Pass, whether it's PS Plus Premium. If anything, this is the wave of the future. Instead of dropping $60, $70 on a full release, you pay the subscription fee and then you get a bunch of games. Now, I don't think all AAA games will follow that model. I think the biggest AAA games will actually not follow that model unless it's under like the Microsoft banner. But I think it is something that's going to become more and more prominent in the future, especially if what if you like mid-level to indie games? I mean, these are no-brainer subscriptions. You get all those games for free pretty much, right? The hated one, no, the Ask the King is not retired. Ask the King is going to continue. I believe I currently have it scheduled for the first week of July, although it may get bumped to like mid-July, but it is still happening. I did play Genshin Impact on PlayStation, piss poo. You can check that out right here on the channel, the archive footage. GTD Gamer says, how do I play with you in the future? It was random. This was not a scheduled thing where I was trying to plan with a party. It was just random, and people just randomly joined the lobby, and some got to stick around and some got dropped. It is what it is. It wasn't anything special, and it wasn't anything where I was having like people on my friends list or members join. It was just a random co-op, a one-off deal. Okay. Do I own a Game Boy Advance? I do not, X-Shooter. I did for a while. I owned the original Game Boy Advance. Then there was another model that I owned, the flip one, because there were two, right? I think I owned the wide one. Then I owned the flip one, which was the smaller version. And then I owned the original DS, and the original DS played Game Boy Advance game. So technically, I guess I had 3 different models of Game Boy Advance over the years, but I do not currently have one. How would I feel about a retro-style Street Fighter beat-em-up? I love retro-style stuff. If you can't tell, like all I'm doing for the next 2 weeks is retro stuff. I love retro-style stuff, so I'd be down for anything. If they made a new Final Fight, you know what I mean? If they made a new an old Street Fighter that had that kind of mechanics, I would probably love that. Ruby did a super chat, says if Toy Story 2 turns out to be a successful playthrough, would you consider playing Toy Story 3 on Xbox, which you own, or even the Disney Afternoon Collection? Yes and yes, but I don't want to go crazy. And the thing is, when you play one style of game, usually you want to take a break until you play another of that same style of game. So it's not that it's out of the question. It's that if I play Toy Story 2 now, which you guys want, and I'm starting tonight, I'm not playing Toy Story 3 or the Disney Afternoon Collection soon, but maybe, eventually. D-Man Game says, what's tonight's game? Toy Story 2 on the PlayStation 1, off of PlayStation Plus Premium, upscaled for PS5. For your request, I tried it just on a whim the other day when we were exploring PS Plus. You guys loved it, so we're actually doing a playthrough now. Usagi Jojo wants more retro games. I don't have a favorite Charlie's Angel. I never saw the original show, and I don't even remember the reboot movie. Shia says, what Castlevania game do I think I'll start with tomorrow? Honestly, I think it's up to you guys. Remember, that collection has 1, 2, 3, 4, and Game Boy games. I don't think we're doing Game Boy games, so probably be between the first 4. I would say the logical places to start would be 1 or 4, because 4 is the culmination on Super Nintendo with all the improvements and quality of life stuff, like the 8-directional whip, while 1 is the beginning of the original trilogy. I don't know why I would play 2 or 3, Yes, I've ridden a bike before when I was very, very young, but I only did it for a very short period of time. And I never really fully learned how to ride it because, well, I told the story a million times. I really don't want to tell the entire story. It's a long story about growing up in a bad area, basically. I thought Metal Gear Solid 5 was great when I first played it. I actually thought that it was really fun, and it did stealth really, really well. And I actually played it and enjoyed it, and I did a lot of optional stuff and stuff in it too. You know, it was funny because at that time, of course, everyone was making fun of me, saying, "Oh, you suck at stealth, Metal Gear Solid. This is how you don't play." And then I played Metal Gear Solid 5, and I did pretty good. And of course, they still made it "This is how you don't play." That made no sense because I actually did pretty decently at the game. Do I think Sony needs to improve PlayStation Plus? From what I've seen with PlayStation Plus Platinum, the one recommendation I would make for improvement would be that they need to add more classic games. There's very few, like under 20, I think, right? For PS1, and then PS2 is limited too. Like, there's just not enough. And you got to have a library of your staple games from back in the day. If they had like 100, 200 classic PS1 games that are all the ones you played as a kid, oh my God, the value would be tremendous. But I just don't understand why anyone who's looking for classic stuff would get that subscription service right now when there's not that much. Will the next week cause retro burnout? I don't know. We'll see. But there's no new games to play. That's the thing, is there's literally nothing new to play. All the new games are coming out in like starting in July. So we'll do a week of the retro stuff. You guys are going to be soon voting on the Viewer's Choice playthrough event. That'll be in the mix, and we'll go from there. But I'm playing what's available, and you guys seem to be digging it. So no, I'm not doing a Father's Day phone call on stream. That's incredibly stupid. Ruby did a super chat saying, how do you feel about Ryan Reynolds playing Dirk Daring in the upcoming live Dragon's Lair movie? I can't imagine them doing a live action Dragon's Lair movie, so go right ahead, I guess. It's probably going to be a comedy, right? All right. Thank you for the super chat, Ruby, by the way. Team Terrahawk says, I'm looking forward to more Tiny Tina. Well, there won't be any right now because that was just the game trial. It's not actually under PlayStation Plus Premium. All you get is a 2-hour trial, which has expired. So I don't get to play it again unless I buy it, and I'm not planning on buying it anytime soon. Although I already heard that the price dropped dramatically. It's not like a full-price game anymore. So likely, if I play it in the future, it'll be like really cheap. So maybe we will do a playthrough of it in the future as like a chill playthrough. She says maybe live action Dragon's Lair is based on the NES game. Doubtful. It was probably going to be on the iconic arcade game that everyone knows with the Don Bluth animation, right? The NES game is ridiculous. You know, I remember the Angry Video Game Nerd episode. It was one of his earlier episodes that I watched. And, yeah, that game is ridiculously hard and ridiculously stupid. Do I still watch AVGN? No, I do not. I watched him. I want to say I watched his stuff up to the point I was doing YouTube at the time, but basically when I started treating it like a job, so probably around 2010, like late 2010, when I lost my office job and I had to really hunker down and make as much content as possible on the internet to make a living. That's when I stopped watching like other people's stuff. I stopped watching Nostalgia Critic. I stopped watching AVGN. I've heard of things over the years. Like, for example, I remember someone just recently told me when Gilbert Gottfried passed away, they said that he had done a episode with Gilbert Gottfried. I was like, really? So he was doing like team up stuff because he had never done stuff like that back in the day. It was always just him reviewing a game, and sometimes his friend would like act like a character. But it was never like him and someone serious from Hollywood. So I was kind of like taken aback to hear that. But, you know, no, I haven't watched any of his stuff in a very long time. Do I remember Johnny Dangerously? No, I don't know what that is. Have I ever interacted with him? You need an AVGN? Very, very small interaction. We were both at a Too Many Games convention in Pennsylvania. And he was the headliner guest, and I was the number 2 guest. So we each had our own groups showing up to watch us do a panel, to sign autographs, to sell merch. And we had a very small interaction where he had arrived, and basically he walked by, and I said, hey, how you doing, man? He was like, hey, what's up? And that was it. Like, we didn't say a word to each other. I'm sure he had no idea who I was. Yeah, someone told me about that when it happened. One Button Dash said he did an episode with Macaulay Culkin a little over a year ago. He reviewed Home Alone games. It was really funny. Someone told me about that when it happened. I remember on stream someone mentioned it. They said, did you know that? I guess because we were talking about Home Alone, it was probably around like Christmas. And someone had mentioned that Macaulay Culkin was in an episode of his. And I was like, he still does it. Holy shit. His first episode was like 2006 or something like that. So he's been doing it longer than me. You know, I started to do videos in 2008. He's been doing it even longer than me. Is there a reason I don't associate with other streamers? The trolls. Every time I try to associate with anything or anyone, the trolls go and harass them. There was a couple times where I did actually have some association with other content creators, and behind the scenes, those people very quietly asked me to stop mentioning them and or doing anything with them because they were getting harassed. So I stopped. And that's that. There's no more to the story. Did I ever get a speeding ticket? Yes, I've told stories of that on stream before. Did I ever play in snow? Yes, absolutely. All the time when I was a kid. Do I accept Google Play cards for payment for memberships? No, I don't. I don't accept payment for memberships. I don't run YouTube. Google, that you have to talk to YouTube. I don't know anything about how that works. You're asking the wrong person. I have nothing to do with that. I don't run YouTube or process payments on YouTube's behalf. All I do is stream and make content on here. That's it. Johnny Dangerously was a comedy from the 80s with Michael Keaton. Oh, I don't remember that at all. Maybe I never saw it. I don't know. Ruby says the reason Tim Allen didn't voice Buzz in the Lightyear movies because of Toy Story 2, the game. After 2 lines of dialogue, he took money and ran. Tim Allen is the David Arquette of Disney. There you go. Okay, then. If you say so, Ruby. I don't know if that's true or not. He did more than 2 lines? I don't know. I've only played 40 minutes of the game. I've definitely heard at least 1 line. I heard To Infinity and Beyond. That's the 1 line I heard. So... Rumor has it Madden 23 is on Game Pass. Will I play it? I don't know. Depends on if it fits into the schedule and if people want it. Did I know Tim Allen's real last name is Dick? No. But I wouldn't doubt it because most Hollywood personalities change their names. Anyone who has a normal name, they usually try to make it something notable when they join Hollywood or become a prominent Hollywood person. So... I wipe my ass with shit, tipped $1.50 and says, you have yellow snow. Do I? Where would I have this yellow snow? I'm not aware of this. Where is it? Is it in my refrigerator? Do I have a cooler in the garage? It's the summer. It's about to be the summer here in 2 days. So, we don't have snow. Shia says, there is an ending in The Quarry where David Arquette lives. Yeah, but... in order to do that, doesn't the other person have to die? Because he's attacking one of your friends. So I guess if you don't stop him, he'll kill your friend. And then if you kill Silas. If you kill Silas, the werewolf that infected everyone, then he'll probably recover, right? Yes, the game ends at chapter 9 then. So it's an early ending. Ruby says, after Spider-Man, Avengers, and Guardians, what do you think will be the next Marvel game? I would go for like a Doctor Strange kind of deal. Like a Doctor Strange horror game. How crazy would that be? I don't think it's ever going to come out, but that would be cool. Will I finish Dino Crisis on PS1? I've never played Dino Crisis more than like 45 minutes. So, I don't think so. It's not on PS Plus. And I don't even know if I have it installed on my PS3 right now, which doesn't connect to the internet anymore. So, it's probably a no-go. Have I played any Simpsons games? For like content creation? Like for you, since I did YouTube, I think I did Simpsons Hit and Run, but I think that's the only one, right? I don't think I've ever done another Simpsons game. I think I played the demo of a Simpsons game once, but I never bought it. Laszlo says, I've used iTunes gift cards to pay for a YouTube subscription plenty of times, so I would think Google Play works too. Again, I don't know anything about it. You're asking the wrong person, but there you have it. Someone is saying that. Laszlo is saying that. If you redeem an iTunes gift card and you make YouTube purchases through Apple, then yes, you could do that. Does anyone ever talk about the Atari reboot console anymore? No. It came out and no one spoke of it. I mean, I haven't heard a single person talk about it, or because there was an exclusive game on there. Was it Earthworm Jim or something? I haven't heard a single person mention it. So I guess it sucked. When it came out, I think the reviews said more like, it's terrible as a retro console, but you could basically mod it to do whatever you want. So it's like a really cheap moddable PC that you can do like other things on that you want, but it's terrible as a console itself. No, I've not played the Breath of Fire series. Nope. I think maybe I rented one once back in the day, but I've never seriously played Breath of Fire. No. What game is the best narrative that I played this year? I have to go back and look. I don't remember. It's June. I have to go back and see what games I played this year and try to remember, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on the fly. This is a quick Q&A. This is not that's a question for Ask the King. That's seriously a question for Ask the King. When people say, what's the difference between Ask the King and random Q&A? If you want a researched answer where you're going to get an intelligent answer, save it for Ask the King. If you just want to ask me something quick off the cuff, that's what a random Q&A session like this is for. I couldn't tell you at the top of my head all the games I played this year and what the narratives were, so I can't answer that. Yes, I've seen the Baby Yoda, of course. It's all over pop culture. It's all over stores. You know, I used to go to the Disney store and see Baby Yoda a couple years ago, Mandalorian merch. Of course, the Disney store went out of business now. They don't exist anymore. But, yes, I know of Baby Yoda, but I've never seen the Mandalorian. Would I ever go back to Dead by Daylight? I don't know why I would. When I played it, people didn't like it. I liked it and wanted to keep playing it, and people told me they didn't like it, stop playing it. So I don't know why on earth I would go back to it now. How would I know why people vote for Mario games? I'm not Mario. I'm not people who voting, and I'm not Mario. So, why do you ask me? Why do people ask me questions? I'm not Google or YouTube, so I don't know how you could pay for a subscription. And I'm not the people voting for Viewer's Choice, so how could I tell you why people are voting for something for Viewer's Choice? Like, I just don't get it. And I'm not Mario, on top of that. Would I give another $1 to Tim Schafer? Well, I liked Psychonauts 2. I thought it was a really, really good game. It's a shame that it failed on Game Pass and no one really played it. But I liked it. So I guess he kind of had some redemption there. No, I know nothing about payment options through YouTube. I've never made a payment through YouTube at all, so I wouldn't know anything about it. What was my favorite Halo game of all time? Halo 3. Yep. That's the one I probably played the most of. Have I ever checked to see if anyone bought my old condo? It sold right away. I know for a fact it sold like right away. As soon as it was foreclosed on, it went up for, I think, for sale, and boom, like right away people bought it. Because now the housing market's booming. So people wanted to buy it to renovate it and try to flip it. So like immediately that thing sold. Yep. It's been a while. It was a year ago when it was foreclosed on. Walking Dead Carl, I don't give two shits about Rich from Review Tech USA or anything he's up to. I'm the last person to even ask or mention about that on my stream. I could not give two flaming fucks what that guy does. I've never been skiing, no. Why the bad blood with Rich? I don't technically have bad blood with Rich, but I said over the years, I feel his content, he's a drama queen asshole. Whenever he can get any kind of popularity or attention for himself by over sensationalizing or over dramatizing a situation, he'll do it. As long as he can make out, that's all he cares about. And then all of a sudden, you know, he won't mention you for a long time. Then all of a sudden, if he can bring you up in a negative light, here it comes again, just so he can make a buck. So I don't like people like that, you know. This is a guy who used to make tech reviews, failed at it miserably, and had to flip his content into drama content on a daily basis. Why do you think a guy named Review Tech USA is somehow involved in this situation between two YouTubers who are going at it? He has nothing to do with it. He has no stake in it, yet here he is with his nose in it because he gets popularity off of it. So I hate that kind of person. I want nothing to do with him. The first console I ever owned was a Pong console, likely from the 1970s, if not early 80s. It was given to me by an uncle. Then the first full-fledged home console with interchangeable games that I owned was the Atari 7800. Walking Dead Carl says, what you're describing is exactly what got Rich into trouble. His videos got in trouble for violating community guidelines. Now he's salty and he's that it caught up to him. I know nothing of this. I don't care. I really, again, the more you talk about him, I just don't care. I have no stake in it. I have nothing to do with him. I don't care about him. I don't know why you keep bringing him up. Don't care about that fucking guy at all. Is Bridgeport a safe place for travel? Just like anywhere else on the planet, there are parts of Bridgeport that are okay, and there's parts that are absolutely unsafe. So, depends. If you know your way around, Bridgeport, I'm sure, is fine. There's actually some nice areas with good dining and stuff, and then there's some really, really high crime, gang-related activity, drug-infested areas. I've been to both. I lived there for a very long time in my life, so, yeah. But that's like any city is like that, you know? Why would there be an update on the ants that haven't been in my house for like 3 months and I haven't talked about on purpose because they don't exist? Here's the update. They're still gone. Will you ask me in another year? They're still gone. If I could travel outside of the country, where would I go? Short-term quick trip, Canada. Longer-term cool vacation, if I had unlimited funds and resources, Japan. And even longer term, if I had really more time and resources, Europe. Meaning like England, France, you know, Italy, maybe Germany. You know, I'd like to go to like a tour of the different major European countries. Something like that. Maybe Spain, stuff like that. I've been to Pennsylvania many times in my life, King. Yes. Absolutely. Why do I answer most questions sarcastically? I don't. I answer pretty silly questions sarcastically. If they're more matter-of-fact questions that are more informative or have to do with gaming or something that makes sense, then I'll probably, you know, answer it more seriously. But a lot of these questions today are pretty ridiculous, don't you think? Lemon Cat says, I recommend Victoria Island in Canada. It's not too far from Seattle. I always want to go to, like, Vancouver, but I don't know. We're gonna, in a few years, we're going to basically see what a lot of other major cities have seen, because I don't know if you guys heard, but apparently we're hosting the World Cup in 2026. And when I say we, I mean Seattle. I don't live in Seattle. I live in the suburb of Seattle. But you know what's going to happen? When the World Cup happens, it's going to be insane amount of people here. There's going to be crazy commerce, businesses, all kinds of shit exploding. Crime as well, I'm sure. And then it's just going to go and go away. Now, I've always wanted to go to Vancouver because I heard Vancouver hosted the Olympics, right? And when they did, it became this giant touristy town, and previously it hadn't been. And now it's a place that's like a focal point of tourism, dining, and all kinds of stuff. But I'm curious what on earth will happen here when supposedly Seattle hosts the World Cup. By the way, Seattle still incredibly full of crime. Still, they don't have enough officers. They keep trying to hire police officers and giving incentive. They have hiring bonuses for police officers in Seattle because they don't have enough to handle the crime in the city. I hope they think they're going to clean it up in 4 years, because if it doesn't get better in 4 years, then you have all these people here for World Cup. You're going to have World War fucking 3. You're going to have an insane amount of shit going on. So I hope that they can fix the shit before that happens. I've never had bed bugs. Thank God. I'm sure that would be terrible. Explain your beef with the state of Delaware. I don't have beef with Delaware. It's a running joke. When my friends and I used to travel for Street Fighter convention or Street Fighter tournaments, gaming conventions, or other events in the area of New England. So it happened twice, not once but twice, where we ended up going the wrong way, somehow getting lost, and we ended up in Delaware. And you get off the highway in Delaware to try to figure out where you are, because you got to realize that back then not everyone had like full GPS on their phone. And you're trying to figure it out, and there's nothing there. You get off the highway, there's like, wow, there's a bunch of corner stores, there's like a gas station, and you drive. It's all like all of Delaware is like a suburb of a major city. Like there's nothing anywhere. It's just like a bunch of residential shit and a bunch of like you know, nothing major. And every time we went there, it looked exactly the same. We're like, wow. So it's a running joke. It's not like we actually hate Delaware. Did I ever significantly spend time there? No, I did not. It's just a silly thing, a running thing that we had whenever we traveled. Like, oh my God, we ended up in Delaware again. I don't know why people even bring that up, considering I never mentioned Delaware ever. I probably haven't mentioned Delaware consistently in any content I've done in a decade. Have I ever been to South Carolina? Not that I recall. If I did, it must have been just passing through, but I don't think I've ever have been, no. I don't want to think about chocolate fudge, sardines, chili peppers, or whipped cream for pizza topping. That's disgusting. No, I did not see Biden fall off his bike. I probably had better things to fucking do. Jesus. Would I ever get a booth at a convention? Yes. Multiple conventions we did that. We did that at Too Many Games. We did that at Screwtech Gaming Convention. And we did that at MagFest. 3 different conventions that we went to. We had booths. Sometimes it was just to sit there and sign autographs and say hello. Sometimes we were actually selling merch. It was different, dependent on what we were doing. Oh my God. I'm not even going to read what that idiot just posted. Wow. Am I looking forward to the new Beavis and Butt-Head movie? I didn't even know it existed till yesterday. Yesterday I was on Twitter and I saw an ad for it. I was like, they're seriously making Beavis and Butt-Head again? For those who don't know, Beavis and Butt-Head was a cartoon on MTV in the 1990s. It was very popular at the time for being inappropriate, having 2 idiots act like idiots and do dumb shit. They made a movie. The movie sucked in my opinion, but it still made tons of money. So it was very popular, and then at one point it got canceled, like everything. They tried to reboot it into 2000s, okay? It failed miserably. No one watched it. It only lasted like a season. It got canceled. They tried to reboot it again in the, I think, the 2010s, if not 2020. It failed again, miserably. No one watched it. No one wanted to see it. It got canceled again. Now they're making a movie. Like, how do you not understand that Beavis and Butt-Head is perfectly fine as something that made sense in the 90s? It was funny in the 90s. It's a timed thing, right? It was fine for it to be fun, funny in the 90s. It doesn't need to come back 10 times. It's never going to be popular again like it's the 1990s. It's just never going to work. You'll have a small group of people who are fans of it in the 90s who are, oh, it's again? Okay, I guess I'll watch it. And then everyone else will be like, what the fuck is this shit? And they'll never watch it. It doesn't. You can't keep rebooting every possible thing and expect that it's all going to be popular again and again and again. They try. Oh, God, they try. But it doesn't always work. Some things will always work. Ninja Turtles has been rebooted 17 times, and for some reason, it always has traction, and a whole new audience discovers it. But Beavis and Butt-Head is not Ninja Turtles. Okay. See, here's the thing. Skis TV says, I tried watching Beavis and Butt-Head from the 90s. It's almost unbearable. I didn't grow up with it. You have to understand something. Before, we were talking about a time period in the 90s. There was no Adult Swim. There was no adult cartoons. They didn't exist. Beavis and Butt-Head was like the adult cartoon. It was meant to be stupid, bad humor, over the top, two assholes acting like jerks. Nothing like, it was all, cartoons were basically like for kids, or you had The Simpsons. And that was it. So this was like the adult cartoon at the time, and it was breaking ground. Now you've had 2 decades of adult cartoons, so this doesn't make sense anymore. Have a good night, D-Man Game. Sounds good, man. I'll see you later. Was Ren and Stimpy an adult cartoon? Kind of. Because definitely there were things in there that were adult-oriented. At the same time, kids could still watch it. And it was weird because it definitely was aired at a kid's block on, like, Nickelodeon. So. Who was my favorite anti-hero? It was always Wolverine, and later on it was the Punisher. Because originally Wolverine wasn't a hero. He was a kind of a villain who, was gory, would chop you up with his claws. And later on, they changed the character to be a hero-style character. The Punisher was always, a bad guy, but because of the people who he was after, he was considered a hero, which was weird. At first, he was hired to stop Spider-Man, and then over the years, he became a hero because he was trying to take out mafia members. Howard the Duck was the best anti-hero. Yes, I remember The Adventures of Pete and Pete. All right, guys. That is it. That was a quick Q&A, I know. We're out of time. Thank you for watching. Thanks to those who chilled and asked questions. Until next time. Awesome.